Sutra 32. And now, Sutra 32 is talking about slightly different kind of Siddhi. And it's a very simple sutra, not very detailed one, but we'll have to look at it. So this sutra says, Murdhajyotishi Siddha Darshanam. Murdhajyotishi Siddha Darshanam. मूर्ध ज्योति पर संयम करने से सिद्धों का दर्शन होता है. By practicing Samyama on the coronal light, Siddhas can be seen. This is the meaning of the sutra. So now, two important things are there. What is this Murdha Jyoti? And what is Siddha? And what is the significance of Siddha Darshanam? Now, these are some areas which are important and they are related to this sutra. So now, what is Murdha Jyoti? It is believed that Murdha Jyoti is the light within our skull, within our head. And the location of the light, there are different viewpoints. One commentator has said that it is the Brahmarandra, which is top of the head, very close to what is known as Sahasrar Chakra. And other commentators, even Aranya, they have taken a different stand. And even Dr. Jaydev has taken a different stand. And they say it is the light in the forehead, just above the Bhrumadhya, the area between the eyebrows, just above that at the center, there is a light, and that is what is to be taken. So now these are very, difficult sutras to understand. As we saw, these are almost 2,500 years back it was written. And later on, the first commentary was almost 700-800 years after the sutras. Vyasa has taken a stand. So from that perspective, we will not be able to really say exactly what is the location. But then it is an area within the head. And suggestion is given that we had discussed about Hriday, heart. There are rays of light emanating from the heart and going in different directions. And this idea is coming from Upanishad. In fact, you will find most of the ideas of chakras or the energy centers or sensitive zones, they are taken from Upanishads in Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Because when we look at the Hatha Yoga earlier when we were discussing about Dharana, that time I had mentioned you that Shiv Yoga Marg, there are 12 chakras. 12 centers of consciousness are there. And out of that, 1 or 2 centers are even outside the body or even behind the Brahmarandra. So Dwadash Marg, this is known as Yogi's Dwadash Marg. But later on we find that Hatha Yoga literature, when it came to, be written somewhere 1,000 years back, then these chakras became very, very limited. So classically now Tantra and Hatha Yoga, it believes in 6 chakras. And 7th is the Sahasrar. But these are later developments. So you will find that Patanjali has not used the word Manipur or Swadhisthana, although he has not talked about Anahat Chakra, but he has talked about heart region. He has talked about Nabhi Chakra. He calls it Nabhi Chakra. If we go according to the modern Hatha Yoga literature, then it will be kind of Manipur Chakra. So now these chakras are very important areas. But then, Upanishad had this one peculiarity that they are talking about the chakras which can be actually located in the physical body. Nabhi chakra, for example. We can work on the Nabhi as it was suggested. If we pay attention to the Nabhi, the results are very visible and we can experience those results. Whereas when you talk about Anahat chakra or we talk about Mooladhara, it is very difficult to really pinpoint, and the kind of experiences which are related to it, they are a lot mystical. Whereas in this case, you will find that the suggestions are given more from the point of view of spiritual upliftment. That is the primary aim. So from that perspective, we'll have to look at this Murdhajyotishi, Murdhajyoti. So even if we take it as the top of the head as Sahasrar, or we take at the center, because I told you that there are, particularly many sects are there. We may, maybe most of us are in Mumbai, so we may not be aware that many traditions are there in North India, and many followers are there in Mumbai also, where these kind of things are talked about. For example, one of the very great spiritual movement which is there, known as Radha Swami, there they talk about certain centers in the body, and one of the word technical word which is used, Dasham Dwar, Dasham Dwar, where the all the other apertures get closed and one goes to the 10th door, and that is the door to the entrance in the spiritual world, entrance into the other world. So transcending the physical world, transcending these dimensions and going into totally different kind of experiences, that has been talked about. And these are practical things in many sadhana paddhatis like Sahaj Samadhi. Sahaj Samadhi has been made very popular. Many saints are there in North India who are giving this diksha, and a particular sadhana paddhati is suggested where some of the centers are recommended. But then, unless one is guided by proper teacher and one is really on very sound footing and with sane mind is doing it, this could be very tricky. This could be very dangerous. So sometimes when we talk about Siddha Darshanam, people may report that we saw something, some fantastic supernormal being, some divine being we saw, and it may not be maybe connected to hallucination also. We never know. So all this information which we are sharing or we are discussing, it has to be taken with a pinch of salt, and we have to be very cautious. We are trying to understand it. Not necessarily we will be able to practice it, because as it is, they are talking about Samyama technique, which is Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi together. And we are far away, far low in our development, and it is very difficult to reach the Samyama technique. And here they are talking doing Samyama on the Murdha Jyoti. So, in terms of spiritual development, we are hardly at a place where we can really understand and appreciate this. But then we have to understand that these are the things which are available, and yogis experience, because whatever is stated in Yoga Sutras, that is based on the experiences of yogis. So, from that perspective, even if we take the Murdha Jyotishi between the forehead, above the eyebrows, then also it is okay. If we take it as the Murdha Jyotishi, then also it is, or Brahmarandra as they call it. One commentator has called it Brahmarandra. Brahmarandra is the opening at the top. I had mentioned when we were discussing about the heart that when the pranas leave the body from the Brahmarandra, then that yogi attains liberation. That is the indication. So whenever a yogi dies, the disciples will check which part of the body the pranas have left. Sometimes the prana may go out from mouth, pranas may go out from eyes, prana may go out from ears. Now these are again very mystical kind of things, and not to be fiddled with, not to be played too much with. But then as because the sutra is there, so at least theoretically we have to understand what it means. So this Murdha Jyotishi and this effulgent light which is talked about in the Bhrumadhya, it is something which normally individual when he is focusing can also experience. For example, when we talk about Vipassana, they talk about a sign which appears, and this sign may take many forms, and this sign may be of the light nature. It is bright and light. So some such experiences are recorded by other systems of meditative practices also. So this idea here is to focus, and then you see at practical level, I don't know if you have really practiced meditation, and in meditation there are several ways. One can say that there are more than 200 ways of practicing meditation in the world, and various ways. Some meditations are sitting, some meditations are standing, some are walking, moving. All these types of meditations are there, and then there are different parts of the body are recommended as an focus point. So those who have practiced it, they will surely, understand that focusing the mind on the nasikagra is different than focusing the mind on the bhrumadhya. Both will produce a totally different kind of experience. That is what we can experience even for a little while. If we do it, then you will find that there's a lot of difference between two areas of focus. The results are totally different. So from that perspective, we have to understand there is a significance of certain areas of the body which has been identified by these yogis. And it is not like, nowadays we do that, we learn few things and then we experiment a bit and then move on to another thing, then move on to another thing. It is not like that. Traditionally, a teacher would suggest something and the student was supposed to carry it out throughout his life. At least that was the requirement of a student, that he will carry on the instructions of the teacher. Now imagine if a person is sitting all the time and meditating on certain body parts. Definitely he will get definitely a subtle kind of knowledge, a superior kind of knowledge, because ultimately we'll find next sutra talking about this faculty being developed. So the principle is, the moment we focus on something, that thing reveals itself, and whatever is available as knowledge in that area will become known to the yogi. So, like we saw the Nabhi Chakre Kaya Viva Jnanam or Bhuvana Jnanam Surya Samyama. So, certain areas are to be focused on, and then certain amount of knowledge may intuitively arise. That is what is suggested. So, that is the importance of Murdh Jyoti. And the Siddhi here is totally different from all the Siddhis which we have discussed so far. Now, all the earlier Siddhis are in form of some kind of power being acquired by the individual who is practicing it. So he may use the power, but then what is the use of having ability to see Siddhas or supernatural beings or divine beings? What is so significant about it? In what way it will help the yogi? So here, this Siddhi is slightly different from the earlier Siddhis, that it is now moving into the direction of spiritual development. Now the Siddhis which will come, they will be in a way indicative of the spiritual development of the individual. And spiritual development does not mean, always being happy, always being in command of the situation, but, transcending all the limitations which are there and going beyond. That is what is meant by spiritual upliftment. It is a kind of transformation which is taking place. So this is a process of transformation. So when we say Siddha, what is meant by Siddha? Siddha word in Sanskrit means a perfect being, a being who is perfect. Normally, when we look at ourselves, we cannot claim that we are perfect. We have got so many faults, faults in the form of weaknesses. We are subject to so many weaknesses, physical weaknesses, mental weaknesses, emotional weaknesses, our desires. They all make us little weak. Now, Siddhas are beyond that. Siddhas are the perfected being who have mastered all the lower kind of traits in the personality, lower kind of desires, lower kind of pursuits, and they are functioning at a very, very high level where they are totally free from the ordinary human weaknesses. So it will entail that, we understand these Siddhas, and this Siddha concept in India is very, very important. You see, uh, we have heard, all might have heard about this 84 Siddhas, 84 Siddha, 64 योगिनी और 84 सिद्ध. इसके बारे में सबने सुना रहेगा. 84 Siddhas are considered. Now these 84 Siddhas, when the scholars and the great teachers, they try to find out the list of the Siddhas, and these Siddhas are said to be alive. All these Siddhas are supposed to be alive. So, you'll find that the tradition of Kriya Yoga started by Babaji, the famous saint, famous yogi, who's said to be still alive and who's living in the subtle body. So he is living in Gyanganj, a particular area. God knows where it is. Some people claim that it is in Himalayas, but Gyanganj is the place where the Siddhas live. So these Siddhas are perfect beings. Now, are these 84 Siddhas being referred to, or these are some other Siddhas? According to Aranya, these are not the 84 Siddhas of yoga, but these are other beings which are divine beings, which are subtle in nature, where they are functioning at a very subtle level, and they are living in what is known as the Sukshmalo, or subtle areas, subtle dominions. So again, very difficult to understand what they mean by that, but this is the claim which is made. So, and Siddha is perfected being, in the sense ultimate aim of yogi is to become a Siddha. That is why I said that this particular sutra is related to the spiritual development. So everybody who's striving to succeed in yoga is ultimately going in the direction of Siddhi and becoming Siddha. So this Siddha word is significant in Bhagavad Gita also, where Krishna is talking about so many things, so many powers he has, and what all he is. He is superior in every respect and everything. So in that particular chapter, Siddha word is appearing, and Bhagavan Krishna says, Siddhanam Kapilo Muni. Among the Siddhas, I am the Kapila Muni. Kapila Muni was the first Siddha in the universe. Kapil Muni realized this moksha dharma, the dharma of liberation, and he was the first master of liberation, from where the tradition of moksha being talked about started. He is known as the first Siddha. He was the first perfected being, which Bhagavad Gita talks about. So Krishna says, among all the Siddhas, I am the first Siddha, the most superior Siddha, which is Kapila. Now we know that Kapila Muni is also the founder of Sankhya system. Kapila, many people say Hiranyagarbha is the propounder of yoga, but many people also believe that Kapila and Hiranyagarbha are same. So these are all myths, and these are the information which is available in the scriptures. So now imagine, now if can we at our weak level, at our low level of development spiritually, can we see such a Siddha? Are we qualified to see them? And who is qualified to see them? So now this sutra is talking about a yogi who has been able to attain this Samyama technique. And when he is doing this Samyama at the Murdhajyotishi, then he is able to see the Siddhas. So now the question will come, what is the point in seeing Siddhas? It is not a Siddhi like, you are acquiring knowledge of something. You are meeting somebody who is supernatural. In what way a yogi is going to benefit out of it? So we come across saints and sages. In our life, sometimes we come across some people who are really great. We may not recognize them, we may not be able to get benefit out of them because we can't interact with them or we are not in a position to interact with them. So now if just by merely getting a darshana or getting a view or able to see the siddhas, in what way it is going to help a yogi? That is the mood question. So here, this is the spiritual, aspect. Unless certain amount of development is achieved by the yogi, he will not be able to do. He will not be able to do this sayama, and he will not be able to have darshana of the siddhas. So when he comes across siddhas, one thing is very direct, that he may clarify his doubts, he may get his doubts clarified, he may get some guidance from the siddhas, because siddhas will not appear meaninglessly in our life. When the evolved beings are coming in our life, sometimes it does happen when we are in very dire circumstances, where we are in a very bad situation and we pray to God, or maybe we are in such a prayerful, fervent prayers are there. Sometimes the help comes in the divine form, but that is very rare case, and it does happen. So now here in this case, one thing is there that when yogis are seeing the Siddhas, it is kind of reassuring to yogi that he is on the right path. So the Siddhas may play a role of teacher, the Siddhas may play a role of guide or troubleshooter, or they may just appear to give a kind of reassurance to yogi to be sure that he is on the right path. Because one has to understand that it is not easy. Path of yoga is not easy. So Bhagavad Gita says, Krishna says, lakhs and lakhs of people start on the path of yoga, and rarely there is one person who succeeds. So the success rate is very low. So imagine the kind of Sampragnata yoga which yoga is talking about, the Asampragnata yoga which is talking about. So these are all ideas which are really far reaching and we are not able to really access them. So imagine if we are in that fervent mood and we are in that prayerful mood where we are able to encounter these kind of beings, then what will happen? It will be for our good. It will be for our benefit. It will be for our spiritual upliftment. So that is what perhaps seems to be the role of these siddhas, and they are as if to help the person evolve. Many a times it has happened that yogis have reported that they were in some bad circumstances and some divine being appeared and they were helped. Many sadhakas also report that these kind of instances are there. But again, there is no scientific evidence. Such things cannot be proved. Such things cannot be logically explained. So they are the article of faith. They are one's belief system, because we have not really experienced such kind of things. But here this sutra is telling that it is possible to get the knowledge of these siddhas, and these siddhas can really help the individual. So perhaps seeking guidance, getting some kind of clarification, showing the path, reaffirming of the faith, all these ideas are associated with this. Now, the points which I discussed just now, I would like to read Dr. Jayadev's passage on this sutra, which is quite revealing, and whatever I said, it will become clear. So, Doctor says, much importance is given to the space between the eyebrows. A divine luminosity is said to be experienced when concentrating on this region. We have Bhrumadhya, where the physiological adjustment or focusing of attention creates an experience like overcoming all extraneous regions. It is claimed that if one concentrates on this, one will be gifted with unusual vision. The head and forehead are the regions where the fingers and hands are placed in imparting spiritual blessings. So this is one aspect, whenever we bow before a saintly person, he will always touch our forehead, or he will keep his hand or his fingers on the top of the head by way of blessings. And even there is a tradition of yoga, particularly in Mumbai also it is there, in Ganesh Puri, where this Swami Nityanand's ashram is there, Ganesh Puri. So their tradition is known as Shaktipat. So even in Shaktipat, these kind of things are there, where the guru is keeping his head on the or fingers on the top of the head of the student, and he's transferring some kind of knowledge, some kind of power. These are the traditions. Again, we really do not know much about them because we are not into those traditions, so we don't know how they work. But these are the things which are there. The traditions are there. So that is what doctor has said, that the head and forehead are the regions where the fingers and hands are placed in imparting spiritual blessings. Are the gross and subtle objects of Samyama or concentration differentiated? So doctor is asking this question. Is there a difference between the gross object and the subtle object? So this is a higher area to be concentrated upon for a purpose of non-materialistic objective. Now Patanjali is moving into non-materialistic ideas. The concentration is on the forehead region, the hole in the center of the forehead. One is then able to see the divine or perfected beings. What is meant by coronal light? Vyasa says that there is a hole in the region of forehead which is very luminous and from which emerges the rays of light. By concentrating on that point, the perfected beings that reside in the region between the earth and the higher regions can be seen face to face. He says that in this region, behind the forehead, there is an area just like the sky, without any covering on it, full of pure light. It is one of the channel out of the 101 of the heart channels that travels up from the heart to this region. This is the quotation from Upanishads. Bhikshu tells us that inside the middle of the forehead, inside that hole, there's a luminous self-lit light. One can see it only by concentrating upon it. These are typical ideas of Upanishads. The lotuses of the heart channel space in the forehead, full of luminosity and light, and the navel region are also mentioned in the Upanishads. Patanjali had to contend with the authorities of his time and had to quote these things and make sense out of these things. The Tantra and Mantra system were borrowing and relying on these matters. The concepts are accepted traditionally and do not need to be practically demonstrated. Some take an extreme view of these matters, and this results in hallucinations. So, doctor is warning that one should not be really, taking these things seriously and try something which he doesn't know about, because it will lead to a lot of troubles. So this idea, as I told you, later on, all the chakra ideas and all, Kundalini idea, it developed much later on. We have seen how Vyasa has talked about Sushumna Nadi, or Patanjali has indicated Sushumna Nadi. Sushumna Nadi location was from heart to the brain, and it was not from the Adhar Chakra or the Muladhar Chakra to the Sahasrara, as later on it came. So we come across many tantric tradition where, and even among the Siddhas, even among the yoga schools, Kashmiri Shaivism, Shaktas, and even the other tantric traditions, some people talk about 12 chakras, some people talk about 6 chakras. So traditionally, you'll find John Woodruff has translated the works where they are talking about 6 chakras. Whereas Shiv Yoga Marg, very ancient system of yoga, Shiv Yoga Marg, there they are talking about 12 chakras. This we had discussed in Sutra 1 when we were discussing Sutra 1 of this chapter. So, talking about dharana, Desha Bandhas Chittasya dharana. This we had discussed. So that time I had mentioned which are the areas where the concentration is to be carried out to be able to succeed in the spiritual upliftment. Here, the primary aim is the spiritual upliftment. So, even if the Siddhas are seen, then they are to be seen in the light of one's own ability and the development level one has reached in his spiritual pursuit. Then only he will be able to see these kind of beings. Now, this is the crux of the entire sutra. If there are questions, it's a very technical sutra.
So on a practical basis, what would you recommend as, where would you suggest for a beginner to learn to concentrate, which area of the forehead? Is it the center of the forehead that you should be concentrating, or some other chakras? What would you recommend as a start?
Actually, this is to be done under the guide of expert teachers.
That's
should
why
not
I'm asking you, sir.
no, no, it is difficult to say because often it will be difficult to say where to concentrate. But then you can try little bit on Nasikagra and you can try little bit on Bhumadhya and you find the effect totally different. And whichever is beneficial, we have to progress very slowly. But these are very important areas to concentrate on. Like the heart is also very important area to concentrate on.
So you said this region, sir, this one, Nasika, this thing.
Nasikagra, yeah. Tip
This
of
one. and
Yeah.
then one is here.
Bhrumadhya.
One is the heart.
Ah.
Center of the chest, right?
Yeah, center of the chest. Now, heart region is considered to be very important because it has been talked about earlier also. Nabhi chakra is also very important from the point of view of Shakti, because Shakti Kendra is in the Nabhi chakra, that is equated to Manipur of modern times. So there, a lot of energy is available to the individual. So it could be, that yogi might be making use of all this knowledge according to his needs. So whenever he wanted to have some kind of experiences, he will focus on that area. So from the spiritual point of view, what is the significance of focusing? It is enhancing the awareness. So awareness can be enhanced not only by focusing on the body part, but it can be also enhanced by holding on to certain ideas, repeating or chanting of the mantras, repeating the name of God. Now, all that will be, enhancing the awareness. Ultimately, it is the enhancement of awareness which is yoga's interested in. Dr. Jaydev used to call yoga as a culture of consciousness. So anything which is helping us to become more aware of our inner working of the body, our working of the mind, how our emotions are playing the role, how our mental faculties are playing the role, what kind of experiences they are generating. This has to be the guiding principle. It doesn't matter which is the area for focus. Whatever be the area of focus, if it is enhancing our awareness, and day by day we are feeling that we are growing in understanding, we are growing in strength, we are growing in calmness. The essential condition is sattvic bhav. पूरे दिन में, see, all in 24 hours we are going through the cycle of sattva rajas tamas. And when we are under the influence of tamas, we feel helpless, we feel everything is lost, we are energyless, we don't think that we are thinking correctly, and we are, kind of in a very negative frame of mind. Sometimes when we are rajasic, where we are very, very agitated, and we are not able to focus, we are not able to take right decisions, we are not able to create that physical well-being in our body because of the rajasic elements and because of the tamasic elements. So it doesn't matter which are the areas of focus. Like, we talked about Nabhi Chakra. Even doing such a thing as pranayam number 4, few times in a day, maybe 4 times in a day. And then frequently after every 1 hour, we check the abdominal area. This could be a great awareness, physical awareness. So we check the physical abdominal area and we ask, are we relaxed? Are we feeling energetic? Are we okay? Are we in control? So ultimately, the success or the criteria of success would be that we are enjoying better states of mind, we are stronger, we are not falling prey to weaknesses, we are not losing balance of mind. The very first prayer which we say, that we have to always maintain balanced state of mind, because my total development depends on the balanced state of mind. Now, what is this balanced state of mind? This balanced state of mind is that we are aware that what are the influences which are working on our mind and body, and we are not allowing negative influences to affect us, and remain in a very good frame of mind, remain peaceful, remain strong. This should be the criteria really. So for that, even the simple asanas, like, I often ask many students, all these years I have been, discussing these ideas. So I ask many students that if they like something, how many times during the day they do. If they want to eat something, or if they like tea, how many times they will have tea. So they'll say 5 times, 4 times. So simple question is asked, what happens when you do sukhasana? What happens when you sit for 10 minutes very quietly, focused on your breath, focused on your body? It could be breath, or it could be body part, it could be some sensations. Anything is possible. So how many times, what happens when you do that? Invariably, you will find the people who are doing sukhasana regularly, they will come and say, oh, it is a great experience. After doing sukhasana, I feel very nice. I feel controlled. I feel I'm calm, quiet. and my mind is under control, my emotions are under control, and physically I am feeling very relaxed. So this is the effect of 10 minutes of Sukhasana. Then I ask them that if that is the effect you get, how many times do you do Sukhasana in a day? You'll be surprised. They say only once. So it's something which is available to you to get control of the body mind, something which you can create good experience. Why don't you repeat it? Why you don't do more often? So merely paying attention to body, immediately there is a shift in awareness. Just touching the forehead, for example. You touch the forehead and feel it, or just rub the forehead and feel it. There'll be a total shift taking place in our concentration level, in our awareness level. Now these are such simple things, but then we normally go for very complicated kind of things. It is very simple. Just take few deep breaths. Every time we feel disturbed, we take few deep breaths and we come back to balance. So paying attention to abdominal area few times every day, this way gradually we'll find that our breathing is naturally gravitating towards abdominal breathing. And once we have attained abdominal breathing as a natural thing, automatically it is happening. Our health and concentration will naturally improve. This is for sure. Because the moment I told you that it is the trigger for what? It is trigger for the parasympathetic nervous system. Nowadays they are talking about vagus nerve. A lot of things are being talked about it. So it's very easy. We just keep the abdominal area relaxed, and we find that the parasympathetic nervous system comes into play. Our bodies are getting repaired. The mind is becoming calm. The sympathetic tone is going down. So the destructive activities of the catabolic activities of the body are becoming less. Anabolic activities are increasing. It is such a simple thing.
So if one is just focusing on the breath while meditating, is it a good idea to
Yes.
focus on one of these four?
See, as you will do it, you will come to know whether it is helping or not. If it is not helping, shift to another thing.
And you mentioned about controlling these lowly desires and all these. All these apply. Even meditation applies to that. Even focusing on the breath applies to that. Even all these. Anything in particular that addresses conquering or reducing your desires?
Yes, directly. Why? I'll tell you. Because when suppose every day we have been practicing a particular meditation, then what happens is our awareness is getting sharpened. And next time when there is an occasion of our going into the wrong direction, that awareness comes to rescue. Because first thing in correction is becoming aware. If we are not even aware, then we cannot do anything about it. If you want to correct something, we have to be aware. Then this is the thing which is harming. This is the thing which is harmful. So once we become aware of that, and then we suddenly realize that this is what is happening. And when we realize that there is a possibility that we can control it. For example, getting angry. Now, the indications are there. So we know that we are paying a very heavy price for getting angry again and again. Or we are afraid. We know that we are paying very heavy price for being afraid and not doing the right thing. Losing the opportunities, losing on the chance, losing on the growth opportunity. So if one knows that now I'm being afraid or I'm getting angry, then he can definitely, that awareness which tells him that he is going to get angry may help him to really overcome and do something by which he will not get angry. This is how yoga works. All the asanas are enhancing that awareness. So physical sensations, mental sensations, we become aware of them. And then this awareness helps us.
क्या है यार, लोग आने वाले हैं 8:30, तो क्या खाने पीने का कुछ है नहीं?
ये तो खाने पीने की बातें चल रही है.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, whatever we are doing, let us be simple, but we persist. Satu dirgha kala nairantarya satkara se. Simple things we do. We bite only that much which we can chew. Not like Dr. Jaydev will always say, don't be too ambitious. Even if it is good thing, even if it is spiritual pursuit, don't be too ambitious in that. Within your limits, keep on doing it, but persist. Do it regularly. Do it regularly. Every day, something or the other has to be done. This is what is real abhyasa. So every day, if we persist, then awareness is changing. And our ability to understand things, become aware of things, controlling things, it enhances.
Sir, I have a question pertaining Sushumna Nadi
Yeah.
and Ida and Pingala. So, according to you, how would you relate to these nadis? Are they emerging from the lower part of the spine, going up, or from the heart till the brain? How do you understand
If
these
we
nadis?
go according to the Upanishads and if we go according to the ancient writings, then Sushumna is said to be beginning from the heart. So when we talk about the tantric traditions and tantric writings, and we talk about the older writings of Upanishads, then the weightage will always be on the Upanishads. Because those rishis who had realized certain things, they had talked about it, so we can rely on them. So personally, I would be inclined to follow that. And then I'll tell you one more, since you asked this question and you are in Thailand.
Right.
So the Thai massage, the Thai yoga.
Yes.
So if you look at Thai yoga books, you will find they talk about 10 kinds of nadis.
Okay.
And the first nadi they talked about is Sushumna. The second is Ida. And third is Pingala. And you just see in the figures from where they are beginning. Now, this is a healing tradition of Thailand. And there is no Chinese influence on this.
No.
They have got nothing to do with meridian theory. You see, it is not connected to meridian theory of China, where there also the 10 channels are there, and the two are Renmai and that's governor vessel and conception vessels is there. But in Thai tradition of healing, which monks are doing in the monasteries, they follow the yoga tradition and they treat the body with the help of the knowledge of these nadis, which are based on yoga, ancient tradition of yoga.
Yes, yes, yes. Very true. And we call these monks as Rusi. Rusi in
Rusi.
Thai language.
Yeah.
Like Rishi, Rusi. Here we call it as Rusi.
And there it is a very traditionally meditative kind of technique. Nowadays it is being utilized as commercial technique, but then that in the monasteries, the monks who were traveling from one area to other and they were tired, then these people were given seva, metta. Were given seva by the monks who were there in the monasteries just to make them really relaxed and recoup and rejuvenate. So when a proper Thai massage is given, the traditional yoga Thai, then person becomes so light as if he is flying and floating. That is the experience.
Yes, very true. Okay, I will refer to this. I have a book on Thai massage. And have a look at these nadis.
And then share what you find.
Yes, I will. I will do it. I studied traditional Thai massage here in a school.
Just near Chiang Mai airport, there's one.
That's the same school. I and Daniel, we both went there.
The Daniel showed it to me.
Yes, we went there. I think we took you there. We passed through there.
No, we didn't go. He just showed it to me. When he came to pick me up from the airport, he showed me that this center is here.
Yes. Yeah, we studied there and it was very traditional. We have to first pray and then massage and all that.
So at the end of the book, you'll find the list of 10 nadis. There you will find Sushumna, Ida, Pingala. It will be different from the Tantra.
Thank you for this. It's very important for me to know because it's so much of literature on this and we want to know what is the authentic one. But then, sir, what is the reason? Why did they, if the Upanishads are giving this information about the nadis, then maybe was there a reason they changed?
So the
Because
reason is
it's a very drastic change, right?
it is not drastic change, because what happens is, because this nervous system is everywhere, energy channels are everywhere. 72,000 nadis are beginning from the navi and going all over the. So certain centers are like, if we go according to modern physiology also, there are, in the autonomic nervous system, there are nerve ganglia around the spine, on the both sides of the spine. And many people equate these nerve ganglia, which are the centers of consciousness, or high nervous activity. So these are termed as chakras. So there is nothing, there might be little deviation, but it is not wrong. There might be a deviation. So certain new techniques came and new experiences. And ultimately, yoga is always, personality oriented. Like we belong to a particular person's personality. Our yoga belongs to that. Somebody has learned from somebody, he will be guided by that personality who guided him. So the masters of yoga, what they experience, they teach. Through the method, they got some experience, they will teach us that. So there's nothing wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank
Even
you.
for asanas, you will see that each teacher will be teaching different kind of asanas. So one which provided the best experience to him or her, that will be used to generate that kind of experience in other people.
Yes, very
Yeah.
clear. Thank you, sir.
So, you were mentioning about meditating, which can also take place while walking, for example, you mentioned. Can you elaborate on that? On what would the right way be to do that? If
I
you're
learned
walking every
one
day.
technique. I learned one technique from a monk from, I think, Indonesia and Thailand only. So there they walk in meditative steps. They take 6 steps, and at 6th step they turn the leg, and then they drag the leg close, and then they turn and walk back 6 steps. So each direction they walk 6 steps, and that is walking meditation they practice. Apart from there's a very great monk in, again, Thailand or Indonesia, who has talked about a meditation where the hands are used. So something like this, the hand is like this, so it will be lifted, it will be placed on the abdomen, the other hand will be lifted, will be placed on the abdomen, then this hand will be lifted, then it will come here, then it will go down, and then it will be resting. So this is a kind of moving meditation. There the action is involved, but it is highly concentrated, because the moment the awareness is lost, then the meditation is gone. So one has to be aware of every moment he is making. So even such things are taught very easily. You'll find slow meditative walk in Tai Chi, for example. So we are shifting the weight from one leg to another. If we can maintain awareness of shifting the weight from one leg to another while walking, it becomes a meditation. If we maintain that awareness, it becomes a meditation. Breathing is there, body parts are there, sensations are there. So many ways of meditations are there.
There is one technique of this walking meditation. 7 steps when you go ahead, you are inhaling. So the 7 steps you are inhaling, 3 steps you move on, you are holding the breath, and then again 7 steps you are exhaling.
Okay. No, but this one which I am talking about, it is very effective, very powerful. If we can do it for a few minutes, even 10-15 minutes we do, then it has got tremendous effect on the body and mind. So several such techniques are there. We have to decide if we are persisting in doing, it should help us.
Once I think we were at the institute and Dr. Sab and Hansaji were taking the class, and I think there was some discussion between them, and one of the efforts they had asked us to do was while walking, they had given us, I think it was a couples class or something, I don't remember what. They asked us to walk, but during the walk, take any one of the senses, like example, the wind is coming, so just feel the wind come, or hear some sound, something like that. And Dr. Saab thought that none of us would be able to do it, but Hansaji encouraged us to, try. I remember that very clearly. That's why I asked you if it's something related to.
Like that, Nishman Bhav, where we are focusing on the sound. It's a very powerful technique, very powerful. It has got it got the capacity to remove so many physical problems. Just simple Nishpan Bhav. It's a powerful tool.
So one question can I ask?
Yeah, please.
Sir, since we are talking about Sushumna Nadi, so I always had this thought in my mind. So it is said that when you inhale from right nostril or inhale from left nostril, whatever. So when you do it for longer time, the Sushumna Nadi is activated. What is the technique behind it and what happens exactly? So we have learned that both hemispheres of the brain, they get activated. But what else from meditation point of view or
all those are very, very simple effects, The both hemispheres starts working. There is a balance in the efferent and efferent current. There's a balance in the sympathetic and parasympathetic. The health improves. All these are simple things, but entering Sushumna Nadi is a very big thing. And frankly speaking, I'll not be able to comment on that because I don't have any qualification to talk about it.
So what Upanishads say about it, sir?
Upanishads, they talk about all these things that, focusing on certain areas, certain effects are there. But then, those days life was very simple and people were very focused. Now we have so many distractions. Even the physical weaknesses which we have, sometimes they get aggravated when we try to do some of the practices. So one has to be very cautious. And it is not that easy, actually. These are esoteric and secret techniques, and they have tremendous effect on the body and mind. So as far as possible, what we are interested, we should become healthy, our mind should be calm, we should be able to live a good life and peaceful life. So we focus on that instead of, because had it been in our destiny to go across these kind of experience, then we would have already been there. We are not there. We are householders. We have inherent weaknesses in our bodies and minds. So within our limitations of life situation, we have to do our spiritual practices.
So you're suggesting that we should just continue to remain healthy.
Healthy and balanced state of mind.
Okay.
Not getting agitated, not getting unnecessarily emotional. We become steady. Last time we talked about steadiness. Very steady in our relationships, steady in our pursuits, steady in whatever we are doing, not getting distracted and disturbed, because that will be a sign of weakness. Some steadiness has to be gained. And then perhaps when we are ready, things will fall in place. Siddhas will appear and they will tell us what to do.
Thank you, sir.
That is there in yoga. Then when the student is ready, the teacher will come, teacher will arrive. Nature doesn't leave you halfway. When you are ready, the guidance will come. So we just prepare ourselves. We just purify ourselves, purify our bodies and minds so that things may happen. Okay, we leave it here. Our discussion went totally different. But then, this is what sutras can lead. This kind of, the areas are very wide, connections are very wide. Okay, so we leave it here.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.